Thank you for joining us. Welcome to LumioseStation.
Hello LumioseStation and welcome back to another episode of Pokémon DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral. Today we're going to be looking at Excadrill, the subterranean Pokémon which is a ground steel type and number 530 in the National Pokédex. It doesn't appear in any of the Kalos Pokédexes, so we don't have to worry about that as the only location you can find it in is in the Friend Safari. Anyway, it stands at 2 foot 4 inches or 0.7 meters and weighs 89.1 pounds or 40.4 kilograms. It's in the field egg group for breeding and it's a male 50% of the time and female also 50% of the time because that makes 100%. Makes sense. Evolution chain evolves from Drilbur starting at level 31. Looking at its base stats quickly now, we can see it has a very high attack stat and a fairly high health point stat as well. However, its special attack stat is lacking quite a lot, so obviously we won't be using any special moves, and its speed stat is, it's pretty good as well, but defense wise, it's not great. If we take a look at its typing first, we can see it resists quite a lot of types, being normal, flying, rock, bug, steel, psychic, dragon and fairy types, and it's weak to fighting, ground, fire and water types. It's also immune to poison and electric types, and it takes neutral damage from the rest, which are ghost, grass, ice and dark types. As you can see, it has quite a lot of resistances and immunities for, a simple Pokemon. Most Pokemon have no immunities, some have one, but hardly any have two, which is pretty cool actually. And obviously a lot of resistances, and only 4 weaknesses, which isn't, too bad, but, 4 neutrals as well, so it's not all that bad. If you remember in Generation 5, Steel resisted Ghost and Dark type moves, so it was a lot better in Generation 5. However, it's not as good, but it's still pretty good. Then if we take a look at Excadrill's abilities, first off we have Sand Rush, which boosts the Pokemon's speed stat in a sandstorm, so if you're in a sandstorm, you're faster. And then we have Sand Force, which boosts certain moves' power in a sandstorm. Basically that boosts the power of ground, rock and steel type moves in a sandstorm. Excadrill's hidden ability, which can only be found in the Friend Safari if you have been online at the same time as your friend who has the Excadrill in the Safari, is Mold Breaker. And this move can be used, this ability, it means that moves can be used on the target regardless of abilities. So if a Gengar has Levitate, it means if your Excadrill has Mold Breaker, your Excadrill can hit the Gengar with an Earthquake, which is very helpful actually. Next up, if we move to look at some of the Excadrill's moves that you'll definitely want to teach it. First up we have a Rapid Spin at level 5. Now Excadrill is a very good Rapid Spinner, was in Generation 5 and still is in Generation 6. Rapid Spin, if you don't know, actually removes stuff like Stealth Rock, Spikes, Toxic Spikes, which can be very helpful, especially if you're using a Pokemon that's going to be weak to Stealth Rocks, like Charizard, Talonflame, etc. So Rapid Spin is an all-type move, it's an attacking move, but it removes the Stealth Rock, etc. as a side effect. Level 29 is Rock Slide, which is a rock type move, and obviously it's physical again, so it's a very hard, powerful rock move. And then we have Earthquake at level 36, obviously Excadrill's main attacking move since it is a ground type and gets stabbed from that. At level 42 it will learn Swords Dance, which is obviously a very good move, raising Excadrill's attack by 2 stages each time it's used. And level 49 there's also Sandstorm, which is a rock type move, and obviously it creates a sandstorm, which can be helpful if you're using either Sand Rush or Sand Force as your ability. Then TM wise, at TM 65 it can learn Shadow Claw, which is a ghost type move, which can be useful for taking out some Pokemon if you're not using Mold Breaker. Then at TM 90 we have Substitute, which is an all type move which obviously sacrifices some of your health points to put a substitute up. Also there is Stealth Rock, which you definitely want to teach it, however you can only get it via Tutor in Generation 5, which means that you won't be able to sort of breed it onto your Excadrill until the Pokebag is open at the end of December. So you have to wait a bit longer to actually use that. Okay, so now if we want to look at the Wi-Fi setups for Excadrill, I actually have I think 2 or three different, is it 3 or 2? No, 2. Yeah, 2 different setups coming, so there is some variation in the different setups. But anyway, first one is using the sort of a Mold Breaker setup. So the moves you want Rapid Spin, Earthquake, Sword Stance and Stealth Rock or Rock Slide. Mold Breaker as the ability I've said already. Nature being Jolly, which is going to increase your speed while decreasing your special attack because we're not using special attack. Held Item being an Air Balloon to protect you from any ground attacks at first. And then EVs being maximum attack, maximum in speed, and then just put the rest in defense so you got a bit more of a resistance, I guess. So looking at the moves, Rapid Spin, as I've explained already, is a very good move and you definitely want to put it on any Excadrill setup you have. Then we have Earthquake, which is Excadrill's main attacking move. Swords Dance here is obviously going to be very helpful. If you can get in there, put a Swords Dance up, you can be very powerful for the next turn. And then we have Stealth Rock or Rock Slide. Obviously Stealth Rock isn't available until the Generation 5 Pokebank opens, and then Rock Slide is your alternative choice here. However, you can also switch that out for a Shadow Claw if you want to. It depends really on what your team is weak to. If you're weak to sort of Psychic and Ghost types, then you can go for a Shadow Claw. If you're weak to sort of Fire and stuff, you can go for a Rock Slide instead. I don't know, really, it's up to you. So, let's see how we want to use this. Well, obviously, if your enemy sets up some sort of spikes or stealth rocks or whatever, you can come in with your Excadrill, use a Rapid Spin very quickly indeed, and get rid of them pretty much, and then you can obviously switch out to your other Pokemon if you wish, or you can stay in with your Excadrill and fight some more. Obviously what you really want to do is get a Swords Dance off as quickly as you can, and then hit them with an Earthquake or alternative Rock Slide or Shadow Claw. The ability Mold Breaker there will allow you to hit Pokemon like Gengar who have Levitate. Obviously Mega Gengar doesn't, but normal Gengar is obviously weak to Earthquake, so that's a very good there. Nature Being Jolly will allow you to outspeed the enemy, and also, lowers your special attack, which we don't care about, as I've said. Air Balloon will obviously protect you from ground type moves until you're hit. And then EV's maximum attack and speed mean that, you're going to be able to outspeed the opponent, hopefully, and also hit hard with an attack, putting the rest in defense just because that's sort of the best choice you have, I guess. Now if we move on to the second setup for Excadrill, we have here again actually the same moves, so Rapid Spin, Earthquake, Swords Dance, and then Rock Slide or Shadow Claw, combined with ability being Mold Breaker. This time, however, your nature is Adamant, which is going to increase your physical attack while lowering your special attack, and held items here can be Air Balloon or Leftovers. Here we have EVs. Now the reason we have an Adamant nature is because we're sort of not going to outspeed the enemy sort of thing. I'll just explain in a second. Anyway, EVs, this is a bit confusing here, but it's the best way I could sort of show it. EVs, you want 7/20ths of your total in health points, 2/20ths in attack, 3/20ths in defense, and 8/20ths in special defense. Now this spread of EVs, while seeming a bit weird at first, is actually, it's not, well, I don't know if it's a good one or not, I haven't used this setup, but I think it'd be pretty good, because you've got a good spread. Obviously the 2/20ths of attack combined with the Adamant nature allow you to still hit pretty hard against Pokemon that would pose a threat to you, probably giving you a 1-hit or a 2-hit KO. And then the spread of health points, defense, and special defense allow you to survive a variety of moves. For example, let me see, what's the name of it? Aqua Jet from Azumarill, and Hydro Pump, etc. from Rotom W. So that's what the general sort of spread is. Looking at the moves now, again, they're pretty much similar, Rapid Spin, Earthquake, Swords Dance, and then we've got Shadow Claw or Rock Slide, and I've also put here Substitute you can use, because obviously we're going to be using the Leftovers. The Substitute can be, combined with Leftovers to give us that sort of extra, we're a bit more defensive here rather than being strictly offensive in speed, so Leftovers combined with Substitute can always be a good strategy. So I've also put the EVs in sort of another format here, which is where they're the actual EV numbers. So that's 176 in health points, 52 in attack, 80 in defense, and 202 in special defense. Because there's, well, some people might not be used to that format, some people might, I don't know. Yeah, anyway, you know what I mean, guys. But it's better than fractions, I guess. Okay, and then the second Wi-Fi battling setup we're using here for Excadrill it's not really second, it's the third, but yeah, okay, don't worry. We got moves, we got Swords Dance, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Shadow Claw. Then we've got the ability being Sand Rush this time, Nature being Adamant, held item being an Air Balloon, and EVs going maximum attack, maximum speed, and the rest in health points. So this time, moveset first. We have Swords Dance again, so obviously going to be very, very helpful to give us that extra boost of attack. Earthquake again is a staple for Excadrill. Rock Slide and Shadow Claw. This is a pure offensive setup, not using Rapid Spin at all. And obviously, you're definitely going to need Shadow Claw for countering Gengar, because our ability is Sand Rush, not Mold Breaker. And obviously Sand Rush is going to help boost our speed in a sandstorm. Now this is best when combined with a Hippopotas or something, a Tyrant or something that can give you not a consistent or a constant sandstorm, but a sandstorm just by switching in. You could alternatively switch out one of the moves here, probably Rock Slide, maybe Shadow Claw, who knows, for Sandstorm, because Excadrill can learn Sandstorm if you don't have another Sandstormer on your team. However, it's obviously best to have a Sandstream Pokemon, just so you can switch in and have a Sandstorm up almost instantly. Nature here is adamant because obviously if we're getting the speed boost from the Sand, we won't necessarily need a speed boosting nature, we can go for the attack boosting nature. Held item here is an air balloon again because obviously this isn't a very defensive setup, so this is more about offense, so we're not really looking to, restore our health points, I guess. EVs, obviously here maximum attack, maximum speed, that's good because obviously we'll be a fast and hard hitting Pokemon, and put the rest in health points again, simply because, may as well put them somewhere. Originally we put them in defense, but this time we put you in health points because, that's how it works. It's just, you could put it in either really, but it's just how I've chosen to put it. So, how would you use this setup? Well, you jump in, hopefully there's a sandstorm up already, hopefully you can get a Sworn Stance off pretty quickly, on the first turn obviously, and then all going well with the sandstorm up and your boost in speed, etc., you should be able to go before the enemy, who knows. And then obviously if it's a fire type or similar, you can hit with an Earthquake or Rock Slide. If it's a ghost type, or for example Gengar, you haven't got a Mold Breaker here, so you can't use Earthquake, you have to go for a Shadow Claw. And your Adamant Nature with the boost in attack should hopefully help with that. The Air Balloon obviously is going to protect you from one ground type move, so that's good because obviously ground is one of our weaknesses, I do believe. Ground is one of the weaknesses, so that sort of counters the ground weakness for the first turn. However, obviously after that turn you'll have to watch out. The EV boost as well give us a good boost for attack and speed, and the health points will just allow us to survive maybe that one or two hits more. So guys, I think that's going to be it for this episode of Pokemon DataDex. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope this is very helpful. Leave your thoughts and suggestions on how to use Excadrill in the comments below, and you can also suggest some more Pokemon for me to cover in future episodes of the Pokemon DataDex. Also, remember to check out the rest of the content on LumioseStation, and if you want to, you can check out my channel as well. The link will be in the description. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you next time, goodbye.